Hi, Jason Spangler here, the SanteeSwapper, back with another unboxing. This time I have a helper. You can see over my shoulder there, my dog Scout is in the warehouse today helping out. Well, not really helping, but she's still keeping us company and taking her time and a little nap there. So I got a kind of a neat little collection. This is a guy who went to the I think it was 81 Jamboree and maybe the 85 Jamboree as well, and just did a lot of patch trading there and came back with quite a lot of stuff. He and I have already done one deal together where I was able to get that famous Apple bag that some of you will remember that was passed out at the 1985 Jamboree. There's a long line of scouts trying to get that Apple laptop bag that was being given out. But this one, it's a nice, really a full box. There's a lot of stuff in here. It's really a pretty heavy box. So I wanted to unbox it for you guys and show everybody what's in here. Get my trusty knife, cut into this. So, I kind of caught the patch bug at a National Jamboree from, it was 1989. So I was just a little bit behind this guy. My brother was at the 81 Jamboree. I don't know, I've mentioned that before on unboxings, but I always kind of find it interesting that sometimes I'll buy a collection that's like, this guy could have traded patches with me or with my brother in this category, so who knows? All right, let's see what is in this Amazon box. Luckily, it's not Amazon patches. Okay, so right on top we have his big, big, big album, which is always a really good sign. Oh, that's interesting. I'll show you what's on that then. What in the world? This is so interesting. I'll have to show that to you guys. All right, we get all the stuff out, right? We'll go through this. The other thing about his collection was that he had some really old Jamboree stuff in here that he had gotten. Now, it's always a little tricky. Those of you who are longtime collectors, you'll know this, but with these old felt Jamboree patches, you have to be careful because there's been a lot of reproductions over the years. Some people would even call them, well, they're fakes. There's official reproductions by the BSA, and then there were fakes made by private collectors. Luckily, there are some websites that'll kind of tell you the difference between them. He had one in this collection. And honestly, what kind of worries me about this one, and I'm going to have to look it up, is it's just a little too perfect. A lot of the Jamboree patches that you see from 35 and 37, because they're so old and because they've been, passed around, traded around, they have little spots in them where a little critter is bitten into them or something like that. And this one to me looks very suspicious. and this is no fault to him. These have been reproduced, copied, faked for years and years and years. Let me just give you a couple of quick clues, okay? So on the official BSA reproduction, the easy way to tell it apart is on the back, they have a plastic backing. In fact, in an unboxing that I just published earlier, I showed you guys one that had a plastic backing, really easy to spot. The problem with this one is it's just too perfect. So I don't know that the 19, this was 35, either this is the most perfect mint condition one you've ever seen in your life, or this is not authentically original. It's just a little too perfect. Um, but I'm going to follow my own advice, as they say, and I'm going to look this one up on one of those websites after the unboxing, and I will try to confirm whether or not I have that or not. Um, Here's some other notes here. Someone was keeping a nice little collection tab of the different jamborees and which ones they had. So this is kind of interesting to see. I love getting kind of some paperwork with these collections to kind of help me see what they were trying to do. Now, when I pulled some stuff out of the box, I said, "Oh my gosh, what in the world?" So let me show you this box here. He does have a few notes here. Let me just see what the notes say. Grandpa Edward Marks made these for you to trade at the Jambo. Scout emblems, scout faces, order of the arrow. What in the world? Let's see here. Huh. So this is, I guess the guy had some kind of a mold that he made. This is about the size of a maybe a flag topper would be what I would describe it as. And then it looks like someone made it into something that I don't know that you could wear that as a belt buckle, but it's surely some kind of a token here. Then the ones that say Order of the Arrow, man, this is all pretty interesting. It's got the guy's initials on the back. So again, Grandpa's his initials were JES, and this is all metal, and then it's painted. So this one says Order of the Arrow, and then we'll see if there's another one. Yeah, these are definitely kind of like someone had taken an old neckerchief slide and then tried to make a mold because this neckerchief slide is kind of that famous one with Washington. I actually have a bunch of those, but it's really interesting. I'm almost surprised that the guy didn't trade more of these. I don't know why he would have come home with so many, because they are kind of unusual. But yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. Okay. Wow. And there's a whole bunch of them, and there might be like 20 of them in here or more. So that is funky. You never know what kind of collections. I don't remember seeing that when he and I were kind of going back and forth, and he was sharing some pictures with me. So there's another one in here that's very similar. This one's very similar. And again, that's the design I was talking about with Washington. And this is sort of a homemade thing. All right, so a neckerchief slide, I guess. I guess that's what we're looking at. A neckerchief would go in here behind and come back out. So I guess these were neckerchief slides. I know when I first said that to you guys, I was thinking like a belt buckle. That's just where my mind was going because of the size. They're really too big to be neckerchief slides in my mind. But that would make sense. The neckerchief goes in here, back out, and comes out that way. Boy, that would be a very bling bling blingy slide. But super cool, man. He had a very industrious family if they were making that kind of stuff. That's super cool. So again, we're gonna see stuff from the '85 Jamboree, which is where he would have gotten the apple bag. So again, I apologize my memory of whether he did '81 or '85, but here's some here. West Michigan Shores Council. So this guy was from Michigan. Here's from '89 Jamboree. '89 Jamboree. Always love getting little stickers. I like to try to give these out to scouts at events. More stuff from the '85 Jamboree and '89 Jamboree. And like I said, there is a collection here of stuff from '50, so that's an authentic 1950 Jamboree. Here's '77. Here's 1960. Here's some stamps, I guess. Yeah, first day cover. '57, '53 again. 64, 69, 73, and 81. So nice little pile of Jamboree stuff. When I talked to the guy about the collection, we kind of went through the whole thing that I've shared in many of these unboxings, and that is that Jamboree stuff in general, it's sort of, for me, someone who buys collections, it sort of shows up in every collection. And if you think about, just say, for example, '85 Jamboree, there's probably 30,000 scouts there. There's probably 10,000 people on staff. So when it comes to like the Jamboree patches and neckerchiefs that were sold in the trading post, it's not an exaggeration to say they would have made hundreds of thousands of each of those. So when I get these in collections, I always have to sort of, remind people that it's a bit of supply and demand. There were a lot of those made, and so the demand today, doesn't quite match it. But this is interesting. Someone kind of made a homemade patch collector notebook, which I think is really cool. That's pretty sharp. Otherwise, it's a giant album, and this is pretty cool. Someone might be interested in this. Hit me up. This is the council contingent with their gateway, West Michigan Shores Council 1989 National Scout Jamboree. So I was at the '89 Jamboree, and perhaps so was this guy. Then have you heard this before? Steven Spielberg was at the 1989 National Jamboree, and he was rolling out cinematography merit badge, and that was kind of a big deal. I was at '89. I didn't see Steven Spielberg. I guess I wasn't keeping track of where he was or what the news was, but that was a pretty cool event for us. I won't even get to the whole story of the Fablemans, but if you watch this channel, that's something I've got a little connection to. And then here's a cool little one, Council Shoulder Patches. This is probably an old collecting book that someone was using, and you can see they were crossing off the list of did they get this one, did they get that one. And so This notebook is mostly, but not completely, going to be council shoulder patches, which is what he was trading for at the Jamboree. Some of these are going to be the Jamboree shoulder patches. So when the council would make their own Jamboree version, and this is way before they started doing all these multi-part sets like they do in the 2000s for Jamboree. So what I'm seeing here is mostly just common CSPs, the same CSPs that they sold in scout shops all across America. So, great, beautiful designs, but they were not necessarily rare because they were sold in every scout shop. They were pretty plentiful. But the ones that are kind of better are ones like this one right here, this little ghost guy, Northern Indiana Council. This is a Jamboree strip for the 85 Jamboree. This one's for the 85 Jamboree as well. So typically ones that were made for the Jamboree, there's going to be a lot less of them because they only made enough for those scouts going, or maybe for those scouts going to have some patches and stuff. Here's another one that's a little bit different. This one's a mass jamboree, which is a big event they have up in that area that's been going on for years and years. So yeah, again, most of this is JSP is council shoulder patches, and I think right here in the back, yeah, he had showed me pictures of this, so I was kind of looking for the OA flaps. So he was trading in the 80s, and so he was trading for these OA flaps. Now some of these lodges have merged and don't exist anymore, and then he does have his own lodge here, QE Lodge 218. He's got an older flap from there. That could have come from maybe a family member, someone who'd been in the lodge before him. But this is just a couple pages of that. You've probably seen those before, these bicentennial patches. I know you've seen these 1960 ones before. And then I think these are going to be some QE Lodge event patches and things like that. So I'll kind of go through there and take a look at those. So altogether, a really interesting collection. This is kind of like, if I had stopped collecting a few years after going to the Jamboree, this is probably what a lot of my collection would have looked like. A big binder of things I've traded for at the Jamboree. And then in his case, he had a family member who was also getting all these Jamboree patches. So that's pretty cool stuff. All right, Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. This is what I do. I buy collections from people who maybe have, had things in a box for many, many years. Maybe you've moved from state to state and you always drag that box along and put it in the attic, and you put it in the attic there, put it in the basement there. And at some point, you decide you have this scouting memorabilia that no one's really appreciating, no one's getting to enjoy. And that's kind of what I step in to try to help families find a new home for their collection. So if that's you, reach out to me. Go to my website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. There you can find all my contact information. I'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.